Hi friends, welcome back. My name is Lisbeth and welcome to my channel. I love makeup. I enjoy doing makeup and playing around with it. I kind of got into makeup because, well, I deal with acne. I thought it would go away when I was done being a teenager, but it didn't. But mostly I just really enjoy doing new looks, playing with makeup, and I also enjoy telling stories about things that interest me. So I like to do my makeup while I tell stories, and I'm completely self-taught. This is just how I like to do my makeup. But anyways, so I was talking to my husband and he was talking about spontaneous time travel. Spontaneous what now? So I don't know if I believe in time travel or not. It's kind of just one of those things you just think it's a story, right? You know, Back to the Future. What was that movie a while ago? Adeline? Okay, I've seen that movie once, but I feel, or The Time Traveler's Wife. They're just stories, right? Well, I don't know if they're just stories anymore. Maybe, but either way, I have a story for you today. It's kind of a crazy story. I'm gonna do a little bit of a different look for me today. They're not usually colors that I use a lot of, but it's a look I've wanted to do for a while because I kind of like the look of it. And it's kind of a crazy story, so I feel like they go together. So let's jump into it. The time, 1972. The place, it was near Modena, Utah. It was, hold on. It was, for those of you who don't know where Modena, Utah is, it's in southeastern Utah, and this was near the railroad crossing of Modena on the edge of the Escalante Desert. So there were four girls who were traveling back to school. They went to Southern Utah University, and I believe the names have been changed for this story, but it was Jana North, who was the driver, Carol Abbott in the passenger, and in the back were Lisa Rockford and Bethany Gordon. And it was after 10 p.m. when they had crossed the Nevada-Utah border, and they were in a hurry to get back to their dorm because their dorm mother was a stickler for curfew and always locked the doors at midnight, and none of them wanted to spend the night in the car. I mean, can you blame them? Usually spending the night in the car is not the most comfortable option in the world. So Jana was driving, and they were traveling through the desert when she noticed something a little odd. And they were driving her father's 1971 Chevrolet Nova. But anyway, they were traveling through the desert when she noticed something odd by the canyon. She noticed that there were, just past the Pacific Union rails, there were two roads that one turned sharply towards the south, and I don't know if the direction I'm pointing are right, but you get the gist. Turned sharply towards the southeast. Yeah, right? Nope. Yep, to the southeast, and the other shooting northeast toward the canyon farther north. And Um, so she asked the girls in the car which road she should take. And the road leading off to Highway 56 looked to be more of a direct route. Okay, now here's a little bit of history about Highway 56. It's said to be haunted. There have been stories about the canyon closing in on freighters and stuff like that. And it's said to be haunted. So the girls are so she and they really wanted to get back to the dorm before the dorm mother locked them out. Where did I just had that. All right. Well, we'll use this one then. So they're driving along, and they take the route that looks to lead more towards their dorm. And the canyon they're going through is called GRWM Canyon. Those of you who are not Latter-day Saints may not know a lot about the GRWM. There's a group called the GRWM Robbers, and this was a long time ago, but they are a group of assassins, basically. And so this canyon called GRWM Canyon, it has a lot of bad connotations for a lot of people. But anyway, so they start driving through this canyon, and she's driving down this mysterious road, and and Southern Utah University is in Cedar City, which is in southeast Utah. So they start driving down this mysterious road, which they think will lead them back to the dorm quicker. And as they drove, the canyon walls inched ever closer to the road. And 5 minutes later, the Chevy entered the Red Rock Canyon, and Jana noticed that suddenly the headlights looked a lot brighter on the road than they had before. Well, they weren't driving on regular asphalt anymore. It had turned into like a white asphalt. Mysterious. And all of a sudden, one of the girls said, "Jana, look out." And right ahead of them was a dead end. If she kept driving, she was going to drive into the canyon. So she smashed the brakes, and the car skidded to a halt. And so then they backtracked and went back the way they came. But as they went back the way they came, all of a sudden she had to brake to a halt again, because there was suddenly a canyon there, a drop. And so once again, she hurriedly braked to a halt. And at this point, the girls are all pretty upset, because they're like, well, now we're never gonna make curfew. And so they're bemoaning the fact that they're gonna have to sleep in the car. And because this shortcut had added another like half hour to their drive. I didn't know. And so, hold on. So, and so it's pretty tense in the car, and they're driving, and they should have gotten back out to Modena by now. But they haven't gotten back out to Modena. They're still driving in the canyon. And sorry, almost done. And then all right. I forgot to do that. And all of a sudden, the canyon gave way to a bright moonlit. Instead of the canyon, gave way to instead of moonlit desert, the canyon gave way to bright. There was fields of grain growing, and with a large dike with strands of ponderosa pine, and it was just, so it was not the canyon. It did not look like the canyon they had just been driving through. So what's going on? That's really weird. So they don't really have any other choice but to keep driving. Oh, and there was a large lake that was still shimmering silvery under the moonlight. And apparently on this night, I believe it was supposed to be a full moon, or not a full moon, a new moon. So the moon really shouldn't have been shining at all. But the moon was shining down on this different landscape. And so the girls keep driving, and they come upon this roadhouse. And the girls are looking around, and they're like, well, this sure isn't Modena. And so they keep driving, still looking for Highway 56 so that they can get back to their dorm. And finally they come across this large building, and it has a sign on it, but they can't read it. They say it looked like curly Q's and squiggly lines. But it looks like to be like a roadhouse or something. So, and they see some people come out. So, oh, sorry. I should have wiped that off first. But, so they come up to this roadhouse, and they see some people come out of it. And they're like, and one of the girls was like, well, let's go see if they know how to get where we are and how to get back. And the girls are just kind of giggly, and they're like, sure, let's see if they're cute. So they go up, so they drive up, and one of the girls, Lisa, I believe, pardon me, sticks her head out of the, and the men who came out of the cavern were very large, apparently, very tall. So they drive up to them, and Lisa sticks her head out. Oh, that's kind of dark. and to ask where they are and how to get back. And they look a little cautious at seeing, or they look a little frightened at seeing the car, or appear to be a little frightened at seeing the car. And so she sticks her head out and she starts to say, hey, and all of a sudden she screams, sticks her head back in and says, and starts yelling, drive, drive, drive. And so Jana steps on it and they get out of there. And then all of a sudden one of the girls are like, oh my gosh, they're following us. And they look back and there's, sorry, I got a phone call I had to take. But anyway, so the girls are yelling at Jana to drive, and all of a sudden they look behind her and are like, they're following us. And they look behind and they're not following them in regular cars. Oh no. They're following them in these egg-shaped white cars with like tricycle wheels on them. I could have used less, that's really dark. We'll try and fix that. But so, and like they're starting to gain on them a little bit, but they're like, go, go. And so she's driving as fast as she can to get out of this canyon. And they, and so, and finally they, and there were 4 of them that were following them. And finally they get back to the Red Rock Canyon, and they enter the Red Rock Canyon, and Jana is going like 80 miles an hour at this point to try and get away from these strange egg cars that are following them. And so they get back to the canyon, and once they like entered the canyon area, the girls couldn't spot the egg cars following them anymore. And so, but they still hit that canyon road going really fast, and the car is bucking crazily over sagebrush and ocotillo and all the those good desert plants. And finally she's going so fast that that she can't really slow the car in time, and so the car comes to a crashing halt among the sagebrush and ocotillo, and the car's not going anywhere. It's got 3 popped, and the engine dies. The car's not going anywhere. It's got 3 popped tires, multiple dings and dents, and Jana is really worried about what her dad is. She's like, my dad's gonna kill me, because, well, it's her dad's car, so he's probably gonna be a little upset about that. And one of the girls, and they're all really shaken because they just saw something that should not have happened, that should not have been there. And they're shaken uncontrollably, and where'd that go? There it is. They're shaken uncontrollably and upset, which you know, I feel like that's pretty understandable that they would be upset over just seeing that. And Lisa is sitting on the ground and she's like got her head between her legs and she keeps mumbling, "They weren't human. They weren't human." And so the girls spent the night. They had spent the night. Since the car wasn't going anywhere, they I think they spent the night with the car, and then finally in the next morning they were able to thumb down a highway trooper to come help them. And the officer, Vic Lundquist, who apparently a lot of people thought was a man at first, but it was actually a female, Victoria Lundquist, came and examined the scene, talked to the girls, and what she found was that for one, there were no tire tracks showing where the Chevy had left Highway 56. For two, the tire tracks from the wrecked Chevy extended only 200 yards back into the desert and ended abruptly. 3, no one could explain how the Chevy had gotten nearly 2 miles north of Highway 56 without leaving any physical trace of its passage through the rough desert terrain. And 4, although volunteers searched diligently, no trace of... Oh, and the girls had also lost a hubcap, but volunteers couldn't find it. There was no trace of that lost hubcap. Quite the story, right? But is it true? No one knows for sure. I mean, honestly, the girls, they could have been on drugs. They could have had some crazy hallucination, which I hope not, because they were driving. But it was 1972. They could have been hopped up on whatever was the drug of the time, or they who knows. And also, hold on a sec. I'm gonna use this today. And also, Gadianton Canyon, it's not on any map. Like, if you look at it from Google Maps or anything, you can't find Gadianton Canyon. It's just the desert. I don't remember what canyons are close by. There's yeah, I mean, Highway 56 leads through, looking at it from Google Maps, you can see that Highway 56 leads through 2 canyons, but neither of them is named Gadianton Canyon. So what's the truth? Was it some crazy drug-induced hallucination? Was it... Please excuse the moving curtain behind me. Cat's trying to go in through the door. Or it's just playing with the curtain. Yep. She's just playing with the curtain. Gonna laugh if she pulls it down on her. You playing with the curtain? You playing with the blanket? She really likes skirts and stuff like that. I think she likes the feel of the flowy fabric. Anyways, back to this. But the girls claimed that they had gone to like some parallel Earth kind of a situation. Did they? Or what? Because I mean, you have the tracks that are unexplained, and the missing hubcap. I mean, I guess if they really wanted to cook up a story, they could have erased the tracks and whatever, but I feel like that would be a lot, and buried the hubcap or something, but I feel like that would have been a lot of work. Again, do I believe in time travel? Not really. But there's a lot of unexplained, I feel like there's a lot of things in the world that aren't really explainable. I believe that we're not alone out here. I mean, come on. The galaxy is just too vast for us to be the only, living beings out here. Sorry. There's got to be more out there. Time travel to a parallel Earth kind of thing. I'm skeptical. But I was looking, and there's quite a few stories about people who have time traveled, seen things either ahead of their time or gone back to the past. And I'm not going to tell all the stories today because, for one, I'm almost done. And for two, I feel like I want Tuesdays to be time travel Tuesdays, where I will find more fun time travel stories to tell. Alright. And, but yeah, I feel like most people don't believe that this story happened. I don't believe that it has like officially been confirmed or unconfirmed, because from a purely I don't know, mortal point of view, I guess what they're saying sounds crazy. It really does. But again, I believe there's more out there. So who knows? Alright, I'm gonna go finish my lips and I'll be right back. And I'm back. Look at those lips. This is not a look that I would do normally. I feel like the lips are a little too dark for me, but and the eyes didn't quite pop as much as I want. I feel like I actually I like that. I quite like the eyes. I feel like my lips definitely make up for the pop factor though. But don't hate it. Anyways, let me know what you think. Did it happen? Did it not happen? Time travel? Drugs? Just crazy? Who knows? But thanks for joining me. I appreciate all your support, and I will see you next time. Bye! Oh, hold on. Sorry. Almost forgot. Always be patient and kind when interacting with people. You know, everyone has a story. We don't know what it is. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. Everyone has their story. But make sure you're always patient and kind, and I will see you next time. Bye!